Okay, this makes more sense, because I'm going, I read the agenda and I went, okay.
Okay. Let's call this meeting to order. The East Grand Forks Economic Development Authority, today is Tuesday, December 15th, and it is 12:04, so not too late. Brenda, can you call roll?
Johnson.
Yes.
Black.
Daniel is.
Blair.
Yes.
Pukshavinsky.
Here.
Hecht.
Here.
Grindy.
Yes.
Wait,
Someone's here.
Helms.
Here. Do you know who that was?
Black.
Oh, Mr. Black is entering the building as we speak, so he'll be here. Just so
Oh, okay.
Okay, item number 2, new business. A, consideration of loan criteria for a focused loan program. Mr. Gorte, the floor is yours.
Attached to the criteria that were proposed by the loan committee. Let me read them, and then they can elaborate. Daniel and Justin were there, as well as Carla.
Excuse me, Mr. President,
Yes.
could you have Mr. Gorte get closer to the mic? You can't hear him.
Thank you. Is this better?
Yeah.
Paul, do you have another agenda?
I have several more agendas, yes.
Well, there's more paperwork there for Daniel too.
Good to see you, Daniel. You've been virtual the last few times.
Yeah, ran into some issues this time, so.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The program is limited to non-essential businesses as defined by Governor Walz Order 20-99, plus certain other businesses affected by shutdowns this year, specifically transportation and travel and hospitality. The business shall be located within the city limits of East Grand Forks. The business is operating in East Grand Forks. The interest rate on these loans shall be 1% per year, beginning September 1st, 2022. The interest rate will be 0% per year until September 1st, 2022. There should be no payments until September 1st, 2021. The first payment will be due on September 1st, 2021. The term of the loan shall not exceed 5 years. No loan shall exceed $20,000. The EDA may make loans for less than $20,000 based upon the documented need. The total commitment of EDA resources for this loan program shall not exceed $200,000. Please apply by December 18th so the EDA can move forward with the approval process and get the funds to you quickly. The program is available until all funds available have been lent. The loan shall be secured by a personal guarantee. The EDA and city reserve the right to deny any loan request. The applicant shall be current with all city obligations. Anything else? Justin or Carla or Daniel?
I guess I'm concerned about the deadline for application. It's 3 days from now.
It's not a deadline. It was encouraged.
Mike, you can't hear you either.
It's not a deadline. It was encouragement to apply this week. The committee was, if they could get things next week, they were willing, this week, they were willing to suggest that there be a meeting next week to move things along more rapidly.
I read the last sentence, and can you hear me now, Ron?
Ron, Mike asked if you could hear him.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Further comments, questions?
I guess the only question I have is that when we talk about the program is available to all funds until all funds available have been lent, are we going to, so does that mean we're not putting a deadline on the application?
That's what my understanding coming out of the committee is, that we were committing $200,000 and that we were doing a dollar limit rather than a date limit, Justin.
Okay. I guess I don't know, and I don't know how the rest of the board feels about it, but I think I would kind of like to see an application deadline, so then we know how many people are going to apply. So if we get applications for more than 200,000, then we have to figure out how we're going to separate that money equally amongst who applied.
Okay, we were going to take businesses starting to take applications this Friday, and we're going to have to deal with those as they were, because we will not know the total application amount. If we want to have an application deadline for this program, and we'll have to set that sometime in January probably, but that would give us a firm number of businesses that are applying for funds. That's different than what we had talked about at the committee level. That's fine. We can do it either way.
And I'm just throwing a suggestion out there for the rest of the board to consider too. You know, I don't want us to all of a sudden hit that 200,000 mark in 3 days, and we still have a list of people that apply 2 to 3 days after that, and now they're not going to get any money because we ran out, when we could hopefully have a decent amount of funds get distributed somewhat evenly to the businesses that all really need it. Mm-hmm. That's my only concern, I guess. I don't know how anybody else feels about it.
So you're suggesting that if they apply for a $20,000 loan and we have more applications and we have money available, that they might get a lesser amount than that?
Correct.
Okay.
I think we want to reach as many businesses as we can, and we all know $20,000 is not going to make anyone whole. But at this point, anything helps, and I would hate to have thought that we left somebody off the table just because they were.
Diane, could you pull that mic closer?
I would
Because you're
just,
sitting back and it's not picking it up.
okay, I would just hate to see us leave somebody on the table that could use some help.
Mr. Black?
I was just going to say that when we talked about it in committee, I mean, the goal was to get this out as quickly as possible, and with the holidays coming up, that was the reason for really not wanting to do a deadline per se, but
Sure.
just leave it open and revolving. And I mean, you know, it's going to the businesses. The thought is right now is the ones that have been shut down for the last 30 days, and that's going to be coming up here on the 18th anyway. And yeah, I mean, $200,000, I mean, is a lot of money. I'm not saying it's not, but you know, when we start getting applications for businesses, it's not going to make or break somebody. I don't think it's going to help, and it's meant to get them through, and they need it now rather than later. And I guess that was the thought process, was the urgency.
Yep. And I understand that part of it. I guess my only comment was because if we all know that $20,000 isn't going to make the difference whether a business right now is going to stay open or closed. I think it's going to help them with some bills that are maybe piling up to help pay some of those, or pay some that are coming in. Where my thought is, because it's not going to, like everybody knows, it's not going to make anybody whole. I would rather see 10,000 go to 20 businesses rather than 10 businesses get 20,000. That's my only reason for the comment.
Brenda, could you confirm our meeting date in January? I believe it's the 19th.
Let me look. Yeah, January 19th.
Okay, one idea, based upon what Justin has talked about, would be to have all applications into the city or into the EDA by, say, January 13th. On January 14th, the loan committee could meet and provide input that would go to the EDA on January 19th for its meeting. Is that preferable instead?
If we're going to go that route, I think I would maybe like to see applications due by the end of the month. And
End of December?
yes.
As a practical matter, it really wouldn't make a lot of difference because we're looking at the same EDA meeting.
Well, that's, and then I wondered if we could just move the January meeting up.
We can do probably whatever we want to do, Justin.
I don't know, I guess it matters to the consensus of what the rest of the board feels
Mr.
too.
Helms?
I have no problem with these guidelines, I was just, thinking that I would hate to see us give all the money away to the first couple applicants, and then there's other that really could have used 10,000 of it and miss out on it. So I'd like to hear the consensus from the rest of them.
If it is that important to them, they'll get their stuff in. I mean,
Speak up.
I said, I guess the way I look at it, if it's that important to them, they'll get their paperwork done and in.
But the way this reads, and the way that I'm saying is that, so we're going, if the first 10 ask for 20,000, we're going to give it to them. And if we still have 5 more applications that all come in with, like, if we get 15 applications and the first 10 ask for 20, they're going to get it and we're going to be out of money. And even the 5 that got their stuff in right away aren't going to get anything.
Yeah, and then I went down here and looked about who I figured would maybe try to go after it. I figured about 22 of them. So you're looking $8 to $9 grand a piece. We could set that, and if there's anything left over, figure it out,
Yeah.
Maybe we should reduce the loan amount to $10,000 so that they're not thinking they're going to get 20, and if we have extra, we can always resubmit it.
Mr. Helms, you had your hand up.
Well, I've talked to a couple of businesses already that have kind of made the comment to me that they probably aren't going to apply for it because they don't need another loan.
Right.
And that's the problem with this. And the other thing was, if we do this and we put it off and we wait until that January 19th meeting, the governor's already putting this next 30 days on. These people won't make it. They need it quicker than that. That's why we kind of went with, when we had this committee, that's why we kind of went with this plan. These people are going to need this like now. They're not going to need it next week, or they're not going to need it 3 weeks from now. They need to get it just as quick as we can possibly get it to them. And it's going to be, I'll tell you what, the next 30 days are going to be real critical for East Grand Forks, period.
Even if we were to approve the loans next week, there's still paperwork that has to be done, and we probably would not see those loans closed until after the first of the year, because Mr. Galstad has to prepare the paperwork, then we have to get all the signatures on it as well. It takes some time to do that.
Yeah.
It's not an immediate process. We approve, they give an application, we write a check right away. It doesn't work that way. It's not that fast.
And remember, the holidays are coming up, and there's...
I understand all that, and that's why I'm saying if we wait until the 19th,
it's too late.
then we're into February before they see any of this.
So are we thinking we should end at the end of December then? Is that kind of where you're leaning?
Well, when the committee met and we talked about it, we threw the 18th out there. We knew it was going to be a short turnaround, but most of these people that probably would even be looking at this have already filled out paperwork, right? So they don't have to go through doing all that stuff all over again. So if they're even thinking about doing it, they should know by the 18th if they're going to do it or not. That's my opinion. So
That was one of my questions going to go, how complicated is our paperwork? Is it pretty simple? Do we need all this information? And you're right, a lot of them already filled out
Yeah.
for something. They've had to get money somewhere, whether it's been through our grant program or through our previous loan program or through state money or feds. So they'd have their stuff available.
yeah, and so the paperwork is mostly done. So as far as Ron, our attorney, is concerned, he's still got to do some stuff, but it wouldn't be near as, I don't think it'd take near as long maybe as it would have the first time go around.
And he's
Does that
got
sound
nothing
right?
else to do anyway.
Yeah,
I mean, I know you got to change a little bit of stuff on the papers.
Hey, he heard that.
well, I guess I do have some questions for you, though. I know Mr. Gorte's been in contact with Kennedy Graven. We've received numerous emails regarding loan programs for under $20,000, as we've done before, are not considered business subsidies. But if you're looking at some of the recommendations that she's providing, there's different things such as documentation that after the fact that they're going to provide us with information on how it was used. And I guess I'm just trying to, I understand that the parameters that Mr. Gorte just read were similar to the parameters similar if not identical to the parameters originally, but now it seems like we're actually giving loans potentially to the same individuals that have received them in the past, and she's suggesting such things as tying them to a certain period of time to be in the business, and documentation that they've been used for for COVID-related things, and they're not duplicative of other program dollars that have been provided. So I'm just not sure exactly what we're doing on the front side and the back side. I mean, and then it's not always just ending up to me. It's a lot of times trying to get the business owners to even sign the paperwork and get in and get them to close. So it is going to take some time. I just can't tell you that it's going to all of it. Well, even on the first go round, I still have one loan that never closed because they still haven't finalized the paperwork. So I guess that's my comments.
And that information is on your desk, and I emailed it to you earlier today as well.
Ron, when you were talking, you made a comment there that about duplicate dollars from other programs or other things that we've done. Does that mean that, and I'm not exactly sure what you were alluding to, but does that mean that we can't do another loan to a business that got a loan on the first go around?
No, I'm not saying that at all. All I'm saying is that this is a second go round. You're indicating that there should be applications and stuff. I still think that they need to fill out an application, but then the parameters that we're looking at, and I'm just going off of what Mr. Murphy just indicated and provided to me from Kennedy and Graven. And so I'm asking my questions ahead of time so I understand what I'm required to do, and if this group hasn't looked at the emails that are laying in front of you, if there's any other parameters that we're establishing either pre or post approval.
They do not have the Kennedy Graven emails. They were oriented toward tonight's meeting, Ron.
Okay.
Okay.
They're still similar.
Yes.
Okay, I was just curious because I heard the comment in there about duplicate stuff, so I was just making sure that we could still loan to somebody if they got in on the first time. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
One of the questions that I posed to the committee was regarding the application, and do we need to include all the information that we got last time, or can we reduce the amount of information? I have one person who responded that we could reduce the information. I have another who responded who said, let's get it all because it'll be consistent with last time.
Yes. I agree.
That was the one who sent the last part there. That was
Is some of the information asked for PPP loans and things like that. Do we really need that this time? That's why I raised the question. But
What I was getting at on the application is, when I said that, is all these businesses have filled it out before, and I'm pretty sure that they probably have a copy of it too. So all I'm saying is they don't have to go to their accountant and do all this other stuff all over again that they had to do before, because they can just copy it over. I don't understand what Ron's referring to. Yeah, they can fill out a new application, but it's going to be easier for them to do it because they have it right there. Oh,
go ahead.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. And then maybe if I could, Ms. Anderson, could you explain this money? Is it This is money that was left over from the first round out of the same fund, correctly?
Yes. So there was like 400,000 in the account, we gave out 238, and so we can give out another 200,000, it's the IRP fund.
Okay, thank you. So we're not taking it out of any other funds, it's the same fund it's coming out of, so. I know, Justin, you kind of referred to that a little bit, it's not, it's the same fund. It's just what was left over didn't go out the first time is all, so. Anyway.
Yeah, and I guess I'd point out that these are loans, so those funds or theoretically will be replaced down the road at some point, so.
My only point with keeping the loan paperwork the same is that if further down the line, we're looking back, let's say 5 years from now, somebody looks back and they're looking at trying to figure out why one was done differently than another one, and you're trying to get all the information, how many times have we run into that situation on the board where, well, one was done here, one was done there, the paperwork, it just wasn't a lot of consistency, which makes it a lot harder for us to drive policy and make decisions at the end of the day. So, and
I think that's sound.
the other thing too is, I mean, given the new stuff that was just approved by Minnesota too, I think it makes this a little bit more important, and I think you might actually have some businesses that are looking at, this will help bridge me to the point where I get this kind of stuff. That's why I think the urgency is there to get this done quickly, is all. And I mean, I'd be willing to meet with a special meeting next week, or even the week after Christmas if we needed to make votes on this.
I would agree that the urgency is there, and my earlier comment wasn't to take away from tying up money and sitting on it longer. It was, to Josh's point, he figured maybe 20-some businesses would potentially apply for this. So my only concern is the way that we have this written now is if, let's say we just said 18th this week is a deadline, and we had 20 businesses apply. If we had 10 apply tomorrow, and they asked for the full 200, and we still had another 5-10 applications come in by the end of Friday, are we telling them that it was first come, first serve, and they didn't get in? That's my only concern with that money is, that was my whole concern of.
But should we penalize them because they were the early bird and got the worm?
No, but I mean, if we're talking 3 days to turn around an application, and we have 20 people turn an application in 3 days, but 10 did it in one, and we gave all the money out in one day, and we gave away the $200,000 to 10 businesses, did we really succeed what we wanted to do with really helping everybody that needed help is my concern. So that's what I'm saying is, I would rather, if we had 20, I would rather everybody get 10 than 10 get 20.
Yeah.
Because we might, when somebody thinks there's a deadline for an application, that tells them that I have till this time to get my application and get money. The way we have it now is we're just basically saying, hey, first come, first serve, and when the money's gone, it's gone. I just don't want to see a restaurant that's really struggling get an application in that's number 11 and they get nothing.
Well, whatever deadline we set, once we approve the loans, it will take time to close on the loans and do everything we have to do before the money will go out the door.
Yes.
That's not likely to happen until early January anyway.
Right.
Okay?
Mike, what if we took off that this is open-ended? Because when you do put it out there that it's open-ended, you can go, okay, I can deal with that. I've got issues today that I got to deal with. I can deal with that next week. And I think we'd have egg on our face if come August next year, we still hadn't spent all the money and somebody came in and said, hey, I want that extra $20,000 now. And hopefully by then our world has turned around again and we're in better condition than we are now. If our real goal is to get this out there as quickly as possible, do we need it open-ended?
Just put it in there, December 31st, due to these reasons. It's going to take time to get this out.
Well, are we going to put language in there then that says
There's a deadline for
that the amount of your loan is dependent on the availability of funds, and if we do have
Funds left.
more applicants, that we do the arithmetic and give what we have available to everybody, rather than, as you point out, the first 10 get 20 and everybody else gets nothing?
And I would be fine if we just said, we put an application deadline on it as of Friday even. If we want to say, like Dale said, if the businesses that need it, they know that they need it, they'll apply. If they don't apply in the first 3 days, I guess there could be instances where somebody was out of town, they weren't here to apply, but if we put
Or they didn't get the memo.
Yep.
That's a short amount of time for us to get the information out.
Right, but
For them to receive it.
and I'm not saying that we have to do the 18th, I'm just saying that I would like to see a deadline, and whoever applies within that deadline, we distribute the funds evenly. That's my whole case, and my point with it is that, because I don't want to see,
And that's what
I don't want to
support.
see us get more applications all at the same time. What if we get 15 in the first day, and the first 10 ask for 20, even though everybody got their application in one day, the next 5 they get nothing.
Yeah, that's not right.
And that's my whole point that I brought up from the beginning with this, is that,
So what if we go with the 24th? It's easy to remember, it's Christmas Eve, and that's enough time where everyone should have gotten the word.
It says right in here on number 8 that no loan shall exceed 20,000, and EDA may make loans for an amount less than 20,000. So the first
Okay.
10 come in isn't going to get 20. If
does
there's
say that.
15, it's going to be split
Yes.
up equally. I mean, that was the reason we put that term in there, so we could, right, Daniel? So we could drop that down if we needed to.
but if we don't have a deadline, we might run out of money, and the next day we might get 5 more applications and not have any money for them. That's my whole point.
Well, I understand.
If we have a deadline, even if it's an early deadline, you have to apply by that date, and if you didn't apply by that date, then it was in the guidelines that you're not eligible for the money. And as long as we get everything by a date, even if that date is early next week, then everybody that applies, we have to distribute it evenly. So even if you ask for the 20, you might get 12.
What time is City Hall open till on Christmas Eve?
We close at noon on the 24th, so
Okay.
I would suggest the 23rd.
5 o'clock on the 23rd.
Or 9 o'clock in the morning, 24th. Don't matter.
Well, let's just all agree on a date then you want to put down there for a deadline, and let's just do it. I mean,
Yeah,
I guess
exactly.
if that's what we got to do,
think that
if
makes
that's
it
what everybody
cleaner.
wants, that's,
What do you think, Daniel? Perfect?
I don't think there's going to be a perfect solution to anything,
Nope.
but I know what the last mandate from the board was, is that we need to do whatever we need to do to get businesses the money they need. Loans are definitely not the perfect way of doing this by far. I'd like to see things happen a little bit quicker. I mean, like I said, I'm willing to meet next Tuesday and the following Tuesday after that, and every Tuesday until the end of January to make this happen. So, but if this is what we need to do to make this so that we can get this going forward, so businesses can get the money they need, that's fine with me. I'm willing to compromise.
I guess the question I have is, does it change anybody's mind on the quickness or the urgency, knowing that the state just passed the $216 million package?
kind of what we talked about here, Ron, was that, and Daniel brought it up, that this money here might get those people by
Till that comes.
until that comes, because we know that's probably going to be 30 days down the road.
And that's not going to be adequate to meet most people's needs either.
No. So we did discuss that, and we thought this would be better to help them now.
Okay, I just was questioning.
Yeah.
The state hopes to get the money out starting, as I've read it correctly, something like January 9th.
Well, if we say we want the applications in by the 24th, can the loan committee meet on the 29th? And we move our board meeting up 2 weeks and meet that first Tuesday? I know that will mess up the financial reporting, but if this is our main focus.
So the 24th is a week from Thursday then, correctly?
Yep.
So we're at, okay.
So I'd have them in the 23rd, because you know yourself, noon, the Christmas Eve, with it closing.
Yeah, they'll show up 1 o'clock here on Christmas Eve.
You got it.
So if we have it due by the 5 o'clock on the 23rd, then that first week in January, the loan committee could meet. And then, or
Can you meet
That last
remotely?
week in December, excuse me, that last week in December, the loan committee meets, and that first week in January, we'd meet to act on
When
it.
I have to see the paperwork.
Does this have to go to the council then?
Shouldn't.
No.
Okay.
January 1st, we have different membership. The council has their organizational meeting that first Tuesday in January. They will be appointing the new members to the EDA. They'll be reappointing. Josh's term is up. They have to appoint somebody to replace Mike. We don't even know who the membership is going to be until after the council meets on the first Tuesday in January.
And can we meet on Thursday?
Can we have the loan committee meet on Monday, the 28th? Because we'll know if they're going to approve and what they approve, and then we have our meeting on the 29th?
We can do anything we want. What I'm saying, though, is a practical matter, the money's not going to get out that quickly anyway.
Well, that
It takes
doesn't
time to
give, that
get it
doesn't give
done,
time for you to look at it and submit it or look at if it's coming in the 23rd, the 28th doesn't give you time to have all the information together.
Well, I will be here then. I will have to stay here, and I will be here, and I will be doing this on Christmas Day.
Well, we have to, no.
Yes, because that's the only time that's available to do these things, Diane. If we're trying to do it this quickly, then that's what we have to do to get it done.
Well, I'm sorry, but I won't personally approve that you can't leave to go see your family.
No,
To have to stay
I
here
will
and work.
do whatever has to be done to get the program done.
I get
I know
that, but
that, yeah.
if the people are, if they're hurting that bad where if it takes an extra week to get them the money, then the money didn't matter.
They were
I
good.
get there's an urgency and I want to get the money in their hands as soon as possible as well. But if it's a difference of 1 week, that you weren't going to make it anyways.
So why can't we push it that they got to have it in this Friday and we meet the 23rd?
Well, I don't have a
We could
problem
meet
with
on
it,
the
but if they think
22nd,
that we
the
can
23rd?
get, if we can get the information out in time and people get it in their hands.
I don't think that's enough time to give people that time to get the application, find out about it first of all, and then get it done and back to us. That's too tight.
If we're going to use the application that I gave you, what I can do is go back to my desk after this is done, send it out to all the businesses. They already have a copy of the EDA agenda from today, knowing there's a program coming up. All I can do is change, you must apply by December 18th. That's fine. And then the loan committee can meet on Monday when we have all the loans in hand. And then we can come back on Tuesday as an EDA and approve or not approve if we've even gotten any loans. Because Dale's hearing the same thing I'm hearing, is that businesses do not want to take on any more debt. The state just approved a program where money will go directly to businesses from the state. That is based upon, the last I saw was employment, but I haven't read the legislation. But there is money going out. It's larger in many instances than the money that we are going to have available. There's also money that's going to the county for the county to distribute as it sees fit to the businesses. Based upon what happened with the earlier CARES Act dollars and working with the county, I would expect that we and Crookston and Fosston will work together to get some of that money to the counties, to the businesses. Those are all grant dollars. Okay? So if we want to do this, we can make the deadline on the 18th. If we want to try to get dollars out faster, the fastest way to do it is have the deadline on the 18th, meet on the 21st as a loan committee, and meet on the 22nd as the EDA. That means we can start to get money out the door before we change the board here, and that will be the fastest that we can do it.
And I'm just going to make this point. If we do this, we are going to have businesses that come to us on the 21st and say, I didn't know about this, and I missed the boat.
But if it's only this list, that Paul put together, these are
Diane,
the-
can you speak louder, please?
if this is the only group of businesses that qualify for this loan project. Isn't there a way we can make sure they all know it? I mean,
We
Okay.
do not have emails for every one of them.
but we got phone numbers.
I'm not going door
No,
to
not for
door.
all of them.
I'm not going door to door again.
I agree. I don't think that I would like to get everything out as soon as possible too, but I don't think that's a sufficient amount of time. If we need a motion on the guidelines here that we have, I'm just going to make this motion, and whether it approves or passes, but my motion is to approve all the guidelines within what was read, excluding number 10, and adding in that application deadline is 12/30/2020 by 5 p.m., and funds will be distributed based on number of applications not to exceed 20,000.
Can you repeat that?
So the motion is with all the guidelines that were read, excluding number 10, and adding in that we have an application deadline of 12/30/2020 by 5 p.m., and funds will be distributed based on number of applications not to exceed 20,000.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Hecht, second by Blair. Further discussion.
Yes.
Mr. Helms.
Yeah, I wanted to bring it up before you done that, but I was going to suggest, what's wrong with doing the 18th? And if it fails, if we don't get anybody applying, or if we only get a handful, extend it till the 30th or something.
I think the problem that Justin has expressed with that is if we get 10 on the 18th for 20,000, the money's gone. Then you're only helping 10 businesses and the others either
That's what I'm
didn't.
saying, if we only got 10.
Yeah,
we
okay.
can say,
I-
let's extend it for another week and give.
But the money
other
might be
one
gone, like he said. If
No,
we get,
because we haven't approved anything yet, so nothing's gone.
I'll just say, I support Justin's motion and Diane's second, and I certainly, that's my position. Further discussion is welcome.
With these are going through the loan committee with a deadline of 12/30, the loan committee won't meet until January. We won't have the membership of the board in place until, what, January 4th, is it? The first Tuesday in January?
5th, January 5th.
January 5th. As a practical matter, we won't be able to do anything with these until at some point after January 5th. Are you looking to meet on a Wednesday or a Thursday after we have the new board meeting,
The new council meeting.
the new council?
Okay.
Yeah,
Now we're back
board.
into that 30-day thing again, which is going to
Right.
be too late.
Well, yeah, it's too late. I guess,
Brenda had a comment.
go ahead, Brenda.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, I wasn't raising my hand.
Oh, okay.
and the only reason I picked that date is I would even moved it up further than that, but with the holidays in there, it does make this a challenge. For us to sit here and try pick days and go, okay, we got to do this day and then this day, then this day, we're still looking at the money's not going to get into anybody's hands until mid-January. Like what Ron said, with all the paperwork and everything has to be done in signatures, we're looking at mid-Jan, even if we rush this as soon as possible, we're still looking at mid-January.
But the thing that it does do, Justin, is they know it's coming,
Yes.
okay?
Yep.
That takes a little bit of pressure off, okay? I'm getting 10,000, I'm getting $20,000. I might not get it for another week and a half, but I can then go to my
They can
creditor
budget,
and
they
say,
can budget for it.
yep, I've got this money coming in, I'll be able to pay you that on this date.
They know it's coming, but the bank doesn't care.
Okay,
The bank doesn't care. The bank wants their money.
they want their money.
Well,
And I'm speaking as a person that could possibly apply for this.
Yep.
I'm one of those people that don't need another loan, but I'm speaking as a business owner in East Grand Forks that could apply for this.
right.
And it could be a matter of life and death, even for me in the next 2 weeks. So 30 days down the road, I mean, yeah, it's probably not going to get done, but any day we can get quicker is a day better for
Big
that
deal.
business owner.
I'd be willing to amend my motion to move the date up to the 23rd. Do you think that's sufficient, Dale, or would you like to see the 18th this?
When are you going home for Christmas?
It depends on what we decide.
No, Paul.
No,
in the
seriously, it
perfect world,
depends
when
on
would
what
you
we
wanna go?
decide.
19th.
No, it depends on what we decide. Because I will do whatever has to be done to make these programs work.
When are you
Period.
planning on coming back?
It depends on whether
No,
I
when
even
were you
leave.
planning? That wasn't the question, is if.
Okay, I don't wish to answer that one. I don't want that to come as part of the discussion. I want us to decide what we have to do for the businesses, period.
I'll make a
I
motion.
decline to answer
we
the
have a
questions.
motion.
on
We
it.
have a motion.
We have to vote on it.
No, but 5 PM's a problem, and I'll tell you why.
Because everybody will be gone.
No. What happens is we find people put applications into the water and light box, and we don't get them till the next morning. We don't know what time they arrived. If we're going to do that, we need to make it like 8 or 8:30 in the morning, so we know when we get the things come in for water and light, we have them all. That's all.
Okay, so
And that's a practical matter.
I can amend the motion, correct?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, so what's a date that everybody is comfortable with then? I mean.
The 30th.
The holidays in there, like I said, make all of this a challenge for all of it to get reviewed and the committee to see it and us to meet. And that's the reason I picked the 30th, because I didn't see anything getting done before Christmas and New Year's, really. Maybe New Year's would be a week that we could meet if stuff gets in before Christmas. But if we do that, what we're doing to Paul is that he can't go home for Christmas.
That's fine. Don't worry about that. That's not
It's
an
not.
issue.
Well,
That is not an issue.
Paul's like me,
Time
he doesn't have a
off
life.
is the 23rd, 24th through January 4th.
Say that again, Brenda?
He's scheduled to be out the 24th through January 4th.
I think she just squealed on you. That's what she said.
I did.
Here's what I'm going to leave my date. I'm going to amend the time because, like what Paul said, is time can be an issue. So we'll say by 8:30 a.m. on the 30th.
Would noon be?
No, because they pick up the stuff like 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning, Mike.
Okay.
That's why the 8:30
Okay.
time works.
On the 30th.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Justin.
So again, to amend my motion is all the guidelines which were originally read, excluding number 10, adding in that we have an application deadline of 12/30/2020 by 8:30 a.m., and funds will be distributed based on the number of applications received by that date, not to exceed $20,000.
Diane, do you accept that amendment?
Yes.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Call roll, Brenda.
Can I,
Oh.
I do have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Josh, can you just, without giving us another motion, can you explain what you were going to propose? Did you have another option that you were thinking? So that because
No.
I want to know if there's something, another, maybe it's.
I was just going to still say the 18th.
Okay.
And if this motion fails, then that can come up.
That'll be
We
my
have to vote on
motion.
this motion.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Brenda. Yes.
Black,
No.
Blair,
Yes?
Pukshavinsky,
Yes.
Hecht,
Yes.
Grindy,
No.
Helms,
No,
Okay, what's the count?
4-3.
4-3, motion carried.
Okay, motion carries 4-3. Okay, item B, have we done that? Consideration of applying the loan terms to the existing COVID loans.
The loan terms.
Oh, I see what you mean.
The
Okay.
payments, payment date and the interest date. We have an existing, the payment date and the interest date, and we have an existing pool of loans that would be amending the terms of the previous loans to match any new loans that we do.
So the proposal is to extend the terms of those existing loans to match the ones that we just discussed.
That's correct. That was the sentiment of the committee.
Yeah, the goal behind that was to do it, I mean, like we talked about, do everything we possibly can to help the businesses, and, I mean, giving them a little bit more assurance on the interest and the payments.
They want to pay them off.
It helps them, and hopefully by then, I mean, with the way everything's looking, the likelihood of things coming back will be better around that period of time, and then it even carries them a little bit further past what that's supposed to be.
Yep.
So,
I think, Matt, that makes sense to me. Anybody else? We'll need a motion.
I was going to say one other thing too is what was the interest rate that we set after payments start? 1%.
Yeah.
It was something too as an option is if necessary. I mean, we can always lower that interest rate if we get to that point too. So I was just throwing that out there. That was part of the discussion that we had in the loan committee was bringing that down if necessary. So we didn't want to handcuff ourselves.
Or extend the date before payments begin, or extend the date before interest begins too.
Yeah. The goal behind this was to give them a little reassurance going forward, but we can always change things too if things do change.
Okay.
So this isn't a hard and fast, it has to be this. We could extend it if necessary. Doing everything we can to help businesses.
Okay, we need a motion for this.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Motion by Hecht, second by Black. Further discussion? We just do a voice vote on this one?
No,
No?
please.
All in, or call roll, Brenda.
Johnson,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Blair,
Yes.
Yes.
Hear me?
Can't hear you, Brenda.
Can't hear.
Hecht,
Yes.
Grandy,
Yes.
Helms.
Yes.
Okay.
Motion carried.
Anything else we need to talk about?
Yes, you need to decide when the EDA should meet in January, since we're going to have loan applications received through December 30th, or into the morning of December 30th.
Are we certain the council meets on the 5th?
Yes. First Tuesday.
Okay.
Right, Dale and Tim?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dale has a comment.
Mr. Helms?
We won't be able to do it before the 4th, right?
No.
Because that's when you come back.
Right.
No, that's when you come back.
Here.
We're not changing that. So
I
we'll do
will
it
be
before the
here
4th, so
whenever we
whatever
meet.
that.
So Wednesday, the 6th is the day after the council meets where they would approve this, right?
They would approve.
Or
the new-
they would designate who belongs
Who's
here.
on the group.
That's correct.
Yep.
So we could meet on Wednesday or we could meet on Thursday.
Well,
I don't think the issue is Paul here. The issue is we're carrying into the next year and we're going to need, we're going to have
We need
to
the
worry
new
about the
membership.
board and
Right.
who's been appointed.
You'll need an organizational meeting, elect a president.
Right.
All of that stuff.
I just want to make sure I
Yes.
understand it because it's not Paul that's holding this up at all.
Right.
It's-
Yep.
We got to wait on council action now.
Exactly.
And under no circumstances will I hold anything up for me.
I know. Me and you think quite alike on that, so it's a little different, but so I understand what you're doing, and I appreciate that.
Yep.
I personally appreciate that.
I do too. I just was, if there was a way we didn't have to impact you.
So what would have to happen is the loan committee would have to meet first, right?
What we're going to have to do is committee of the whole, because we can't appoint a loan committee
Yep.
until after
because
we
we're after the first
organize.
year?
So we may as well organize, do a committee of the whole, discuss whatever we have to do, and deal with the loans that way.
Okay, I got
That expedites the issue. We can do it, I would suggest, since we've been doing Tuesdays or Thursdays, that we do it on Thursday. That way we can make sure that everything is in hand.
Paul,
Yes, ma'am.
the 7th, that would be, Nancy would have a organizational meeting for her.
Okay.
For hers on Thursday at noon.
Well, we can go upstairs if we need to.
I can't do
Well,
that
I have to be at
Thursday
both
the
meetings,
7th.
so.
Okay. Daniel's not available on Thursday the 7th.
It's from Mr. Olsted. I'm not quite sure I understand it.
Can we still meet as this group before the city council meets? Can we meet on our Tuesday? Can the first Tuesday of the year, can this group meet before the city council meets and appoints new people?
I believe the membership will still be in place until the council meets and appoints anybody.
So why don't we?
We know that one appointment will have to occur, and that will be
Okay, if that appointment, just suppose for the sake of discussion, if that appointment isn't made, suppose the mayor doesn't have someone ready in time, you'd still have a quorum.
Quorum.
You're still a member until
You're still a member until you're replaced.
How do you like that, huh?
You know how many truancy warnings I got in high school?
I mean, I look at it as, if the loan committee can meet on the 4th, and we meet right away on the 5th, even if you're still on the committee and you're not able to make it, we should still have enough people for a quorum to be able to get it done.
Only problem with that is Paul's not coming back till the 4th, so he ain't gonna have time to get this put together for us.
I will take care of it.
If he comes back a couple days earlier, rather than we voted on something that didn't let him leave at all, I would say that's better than what the alternative was.
Said that whatever we do, we do.
Yeah, well, all right, whatever. If that works, that works.
So can
I'm
that
happy with
work?
it.
Can we, since Mike is technically still on the board until his replacement has been appointed, or did you resign as of the 31st?
Well, the assumption is that I would be done at the end of December, but yeah, my term I'm resigning, or I'm stepping down in the middle of a term, so technically I can still be a member of the board.
Well, look at it this way, you'll get a paycheck for one more meeting then.
But
Right.
I guess then I'd make a motion to meet on the 5th as the EDA.
I would second that. I mean, if we do that and we push it up there,
Say that again.
even by pushing that application date
January
out,
5th.
we're really only a week further behind what we would be if we did this in a 3-day window. It really only pushes us out 7 to 10 days. And I get it, 7 to 10 days, yes, we need that money in the hands of the business owners right away. But if they still know that they got an application in and there's money coming, rather than I got an application in and I don't know if I'm getting money, that's better than the alternative.
Okay. So we have a motion to meet on, what was the 5th?
January 5th
At noon?
at noon.
Okay, you
And
made
that's
the
a-
motion?
that's a
Motion by
Tuesday?
Black, second by Hecht.
Yes.
That's a Tuesday.
Voice vote for this, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, January 5th.
Okay, I have one more question. So on the 5th, we will be looking at the loans, correct? It will not be the organizational meeting for the rest of the year. So will we be meeting on the 19th as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so that's a special meeting then.
And that's when you do the,
That will be our
Organizational
organizational meeting.
On the 19th.
Because since the 5th, the council won't approve anybody new yet, we don't
Yep.
have to do our organizational.
Paul, did you have anything else?
No.
All right. Need a motion to adjourn? Oh, Mr. Helms?
just one quick one. On the organizational meeting, does the council just appoint the people to the board and then the board appoints?
The organizational meeting on the council level is the council organizing. They will, so I understand it, as part of that, they'll appoint their committee memberships, like you and Tim, the way you are now. As for the appointments, that occurs in the regular meeting, and they appoint to fill vacancies or to reappoint for terms that are ending. We have one term that is ending, and we have one vacancy that will occur. Okay?
Well, my question is, like, president of the EDA and whatever, the board, the
You
EDA
guys do
board
that.
decides that? Decides that?
No, the EDA board has an organizational meeting as well.
Okay.
And as part of
That
our
was-
organizational meeting, we elect our officers. We have a president, we have a vice president, we have a treasurer who is Carla, we have a secretary. Those are the officers that we have by our bylaws.
So when will,
And an attorney.
when is the mayor's appointments done?
They're often at the first meeting.
Okay. Does the council have to approve those appointments? Or
Yes.
just-
Yes,
Okay. So that could be done on the 5th?
yes.
Okay.
It could be, but doesn't. they don't all have to be done at that time.
Correct.
That's all I got.
So but we'll know our council members for sure.
Oh,
after
yeah,
the
we know
5th.
who they are.
After the 5th.
You mean for the here?
Here.
Yes. we
Yeah,
should
they
know
could
them on the
change.
5th.
They, the council president could make committee assignments to different people, so
Yep.
we're adjourned, right? We don't have,
We haven't,
We haven't done an adjournment.
You haven't made a motion to adjourn.
oh, haven't we? Okay, I thought we did.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Moved by Black,
Seconds.
second by Grindy. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, we're adjourned.
No, that's.
So I just